Speaking of Okshisa, let's take a look at some of the action-packed moments that continue to come in this one. And, well, we saw Rile Mofokeng have the opportunity to potentially put this game to bed, but it was not to be, not for the lack of effort, though. What do you think of his performance today?
I thought good in patches. I thought for a young man to be given an opportunity at the 10, later on, because of the injury to Van Rooyen, you move him out to the side. But for me, it's this ability to move into the pocket. When he starts in the pocket, sometimes it's a little bit difficult for him to maneuver. But always, let's look at how Pirates manufacture that opportunity. It's again Mbokazi using the ball well, because he introduces the ball into that pocket, really plays off somebody, then he goes on the run, continues to receive in behind the midfield line, and he was unlucky not to get it on target. But I'm thinking he's starting to find his rhythm, he's starting to find his mojo from last season.
So now, Stellenbosch, you guys talking about the subs, how impactful they were, and we saw Lekolwani almost pulls his side back into it if it was not for Sipe Chain with the big save.
Absolutely, because you look at how they bypass the midfield because they know they're a team that is able to play. Unlucky them, and they're ready to go forward. Look at the numbers that they are sending forward. And even with De Jong, if he would have probably skipped and knew what was coming behind him, he would have done better. In that sense. However, he would have been offside when it comes to that. But this is the element that Stellenbosch is able to bring to you, that they're able to bypass the midfield and play from the second ball, then sprint forward with the aggression of, they are not creative, but they play direct football that is always difficult to defend against.
We saw Siema slipping there. That allows Lekolwani to get in on him. It would have been unlucky, though, on a night that I know you thought he had a really good night of football, Siema, for him to get punished on that.
I thought he had a good game over the weekend against Mamelodi Sundowns. That's the type of defenders that you need at Orlando Pirates. Because you look at the average position that they have in games is between 55 and 65 ball position every game that they play. So if you are an Orlando Pirates team wanting to sign a centre-back, you want to sign a centre-back that uses the ball well. In that instance, as he lifts his head up, trying to find a pass, he loses his footing, and it gives an opportunity to Lekolwani. But I think with the injuries that Pirates have to the likes of Sesani, Nda, Sibisi, these two young boys have really stood their own ground. One thing that they must learn is that they must not be naive in position. They still need to keep the composure.
What do the numbers tell us? The most important number was the 1-0 scoreline for Orlando Pirates and their followers. But what were the numbers in the match? And sometimes numbers don't tell the real story there, because you look at that, you go, Maristeli's being echo. But second half,
yeah, bebafikile mara bebangafike endaweni ezibalekile, because in the first half they didn't really have shots at goal. In the second half, that's when they were able to do that, and one was a big save from Uchain. And you look at you know, the corners that they were trying to create, those came also in the second half more because they were piling up a lot of pressure going forward. For me, it's the goal attempts for them that were zapped a lot more, because they didn't have an out-and-out striker who's a reference point for them to lay the ball, to turn and take defenders on. Because if you look at Usiema and Mbokazi, they played more than 60 passes apiece, which tells you which they were able to get more possession and played out because they didn't have too much pressure against them.
What happened?